Okay, I'm gonna wait. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Let's see. I'm just gonna wait a few minutes. Hi, for people to join before I start talking about today's Palm Sunday, by the way. For all the Roman Catholics out there, Palm Sunday. I have some good news. Okay, so people are starting to join. Okay. First thing is, the good news is after negotiation, I was able to get the price of War of Angels, a documentary on the death of Aaron Carter, lowered. Okay. I still have to charge something for it because the people who publish it and they're able to distribute the materials, they have to cover their costs of the printing and the ebooks and things like that. Now they did say that it was going to take some time for the prices to adjust, but I mean, I would think within a week or so, the prices should come down. The first time that they adjusted the prices was on the Amazon Kindle Vella, which is still the least expensive way to get Aaron's part one of his documentary on his death, by giving the first 10 episodes for free. And it's just hard to change the price of those because it goes by characters. And I mean, there's just there's a lot in that one book. But as far as the ebook and the paper book price, especially for the international purchasers, I was able to finally get the price lowered. So thank God for that. So in the past week, I was able to make some headway with the international media. Because the thing is again, in the United States, and if you're following Aaron Carter's story and the story on his death, like you just seen proof of it where they published the picture the day that the media was there. So Aaron Carter dies, and on that Saturday, November 5th, we had ABC News and Fox News, which were the first to report about his death, already on the scene. And again, if you've been following my coverage of the story, you know that that's part of his entertainment family. And so it was interesting to see that in the Polish press, okay, they published pictures that weren't published in the United States, which includes the photo of Spencer sitting next to Melanie, okay, who Melanie claims that she doesn't like Spencer. And one of the things that is really concerning is that the United States doesn't disclose that the person that confessed to killing Aaron Carter is actually sitting in Los Angeles County Jail, who he's incarcerated. Okay. So the point is that they sell a narrative because they own the media, but it's not the truth. And if you are following the story, you can see that the people who have been documenting Aaron over a period of years, the whistleblowers either die or their material gets taken down. Now it's 2024 and even parts of 2023, people knew that what you have to do is you have to screen record the information once it's on YouTube, because YouTube's kind of like TJ Maxx, here today, gone tomorrow. If you see it, grab it, because otherwise it could be taken down or erased or whatever. Okay. And so, in the very beginning, when I started working on Aaron's story, I was contacted by somebody who was working with the German media. And so the German media, they would send me things like about the documentary that, like featured Shea Ruth talking about her sexual assault claim with Nick Carter, but things like that are not being broadcasted here in the United States. And so the thing is it's not that I'm trying to get the media in the United States to publish my work. That's just hitting your head up against a brick wall, okay? Because again, if you followed the story, you would see that, you have to go back to the tweet that Nick Carter put on his Twitter, and I posted it in my community tab, and check my community tab often because I'm posting a lot on the community tab. That basically, for years and years and years and years, he tried to find out who his grandfather was. And then he finally found out who his grandfather was. And that all he was going to say about that is he was going to go watch the Godfather movies. So basically, his grandfather's the Godfather. So who would be the Godfather in the United States? Does anybody know? Like the American Godfather in the United States. Raise your hand if anybody thinks that it was former President Jimmy Carter, whose family has the singing Carters, okay, who was a distant cousin to Elvis Presley, and with Elvis Presley being one of the first casualties in the music industry, okay, who died in the bathroom. So the thing is the whole point about getting Aaron's story out is a couple of things. Yes, we want justice for Aaron. Yes, we want the corruption to be exposed, but I think the most important thing is the drugs that were involved, the trafficking of the drugs, that brought in the gangs, that brought in the cartel, that ultimately relied on the police to do something. I mean, as you watch back Aaron's story, okay, and you watch the different videos that people post about him with his lives and stuff like that, you're looking at it from a different perspective now that you see, other perspectives, other things, like why did the United States press either Photoshop out Spencer, or when they were taking the pictures, told Spencer to get out of the way? Remember ATM Richie, Jovan Williams, who is the person that confessed to killing Aaron Carter because someone had to deliver the fatal dose, okay, which we now know was syringes that they shot in between his toes, so that couldn't be detected how he died, is related to Spencer and Betty. And so, they keep that from the people. And so, because I've had a lot of issues with my lives being hacked, I know like there was a live I did back in September. Actually, back in September when I was doing my lives, they were being hacked. So like somebody was getting in and distorting, the images, or they were typing, or they were doing whatever they were doing. But like my phone's been hacked several times, and my email too. And so I started looking into a lot of like the CIA and, and the different people who have worked with the CIA who offer training, because you have to do training. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't put myself out into the public and talk about Jimmy Carter and talk about the music industry and talk about Aaron Carter and talk about Kanye West and talk about Donald Trump and talk about Rudy Giuliani and talk about the mafia and talk about corruption and not think that I'm a target for it. You know what I mean? I am. I know that I am. But at the same time, I take advantage of the classes that are offered by people who worked in the departments for the things that I need to know. And so, like yesterday, when I was doing a training with a former CIA agent, basically the person was saying that, the majority of the people that exist in the United States are the people that they call the sheep, the people who have their head in the clouds, and the people who just believe everything that's thrown out into the media and the paid programming and things like that. Like that's where they get like the white sheep, the gray sheep, the black sheep, and the thing is the United States, again, I'm going to tell you the same thing. The United States of America is a corporation, okay? And with that, and the United States is a very young country. It's, barely 500 years old. That's 5 generations, okay? And basically they had to have the original founders, which were the original investors, okay, into the United States. And those people are going to protect their territory and protect their investment. And they're going to protect basically their sheep that they let out to pasture. So we're sheep to them. Okay. And so they know that there's going to be a black sheep that comes up, in the herd every once in a while and things like that. And so what happens is with whistleblowers, when they're putting the evidence out there, is that their opposing side, the first thing that they do is they destroy as much evidence as they possibly can. So that's why, like yesterday, when I was posting like Instagram tweets from Aaron Carter, where he was talking about, and he makes claims to the fact that his brother's a serial and that he sexually assaulted a 91-year-old by the name of Mildred. And, that disappeared from Instagram, but then it reappeared. And then what happened, right? All of a sudden now all of my text messages are being delayed, and the email is being screwed around with and things like that. And I know because Jane put on her Facebook post, I think it was, is it Lauren Kitt's brother that's the dark web specialist? Or, I don't know, somebody in their camp is a dark web specialist. So, I mean, you have to expect that these things are going to happen. If they can't destroy all of the evidence, or they destroy the evidence and then witnesses start coming forward, they start killing off the witnesses, okay? And so in order for me to be able to protect myself, what I have to do, since I know it's inside the box, is I have to go outside the box. So yes, I've been working with international publishers and international reporters and international companies that don't have the censors that are going on here in the United States in order to basically protect myself, okay? And so as you're seeing that, they knew because they had the pictures of Spencer sitting next to Melanie, okay? And so they already had that and they published that, okay? And their view on Aaron Carter's death is very different than the one in the United States because the information that is being fed into the United States. Now, so the thing is it's extremely important for me to work with those people who are willing to document different versions of Aaron Carter's death, and to also know about like the corruption and things like that. Like, as you see from, what I was saying, that, about the welfare check just being BS and Aaron never talked to the police. Even Melanie said that the homicide detective told her that Aaron never spoke to the police. Okay. But you have to realize that, like our country's hurting in a lot of ways. But the reason why I bring that up is because the government who controls the municipalities, it all comes from the same source. You know what I mean? So the source of that is the founders of the United States and how they want things ran. Okay. And they're going to run things the way that they're going to run things as long as they're in control. So, like, it's my belief that they used the United States Postal Service to sabotage Trump in the last election with the mail in vote. And, I mean, it could be the hush money or the bailout that Biden gave DeJoy, if that was part of the process. I don't know. I come up with theories, but theories would have to be proven. And, when you challenge when you challenge them, like you can see what happened to Rudy Giuliani in the state of Georgia, who Jimmy Carter was the governor of Georgia, never even left his little house, never left his little mouse hole. Okay, because that's how Jerry stayed alive, because he stayed away from Tom. He just made his little mouse hole comfortable, okay, and stayed basically in his own territory, where if you come into his territory, that's where you're going to get the smackdown. And that's where Rudy Giuliani basically got the smackdown with the judgments that were so high that they were just going to destroy him for basically, trying to prove that the election, or turning over the election in the state of Georgia, and he basically was poking a bear there, okay? And so that's why he ended up in situations. Now, what they decided to do this time was they decided to change the infrastructure of the way that the vote was going to be done, because now we already suspect that the voting machines, we already suspect that there's with the mail-in vote, like, I'm going to go in person, to vote this time. I'm not going to do the mail-in vote. So they bring in the migrants, okay, and get them set up with an address. That's why they're providing the housing for them, okay, to swing the vote. And where they're doing that in places that they want to swing the vote, okay, that's why you're seeing a lot of now, I don't know. So, like, okay, so Trump won in Illinois, and then right after Trump won in Illinois, because they tried to keep him off the vote, what ended up happening is they started evicting the migrants, because they're like, well, Trump won Illinois, so let's just start getting rid of the migrants, because Trump said that he was going to send the migrants back because they really don't have a right to be here. You know what I'm saying? And so I think it was just a last ditch effort, or whatever. But the next big city that's got that problem is New York. Okay. So why are they attacking New York? Why are they going so hard in New York? And the reason why is because of Trump's assets. The majority of Trump's assets are in New York. And so ever since they started attacking Trump in New York, people started pulling out of New York, and it's their right to pull out of New York. I mean, that's not a place to be right now, especially like where the epicenter, is down by Manhattan and things like that. I mean, they have the migrants that are just out, committing crimes, and they're not being prosecuted. And it's like, I don't understand the theory there. Well, they don't want to lock them up because they need their votes. But and this whole thing's not going to be about Trump, but I just wanted to give you a perspective, okay? So Trump decides he's going to run for president, and what they decided to do is they knew how much money he had because he went through that investigation. So they knew how much cash he had on hand. So what they did is they bogged him down in litigation and then slapped him with these big fines to take away his cash, to cripple him running in the election, because they want to keep Biden in. Because how does the food chain go? The food chain goes from Jimmy Carter, right? Then it goes to the Clintons, Obama, Biden. It's the same food chain. It's the same food chain. Okay. And so, I mean, the reason why I think that Jimmy Carter is the godfather, one of the reasons why is because you can't find any information on Charles Aaron, who Aaron Charles was named after his grandfather. You can't find any paperwork, and it appears to be some kind of an adoption situation, which they could do a closed adoption and you won't find the paperwork. And then Nick Carter states that he's not a Carter. So he's not a blood relative, but he is a Carter somehow. So somebody by the name of Charles Aaron, whoever that was, okay, adopted his dad, or I don't know his. I don't know. His dad was born out of wedlock, and they just said it was an adoption to kind of straighten out. Who knows? You know, you'd have to do the DNA on that. But the reality is that Nick Carter made it very clear that he was related to somebody who held great power in this country. Okay, so and then if you go back and you research Jimmy Carter's family, it goes back to Motown, and Motown became Sony. So basically, and then Sony's owned by Disney, and Sony and Warner Brothers are siblings, and that's 2/3 of the media. So unless you're on Amazon or Netflix, the chances of you being streamed would only leave you with YouTube, which is an independent platform, which I'm very grateful to YouTube for sponsoring my channel. TikTok emailed me that, you know, they wanted me to go live and things like that. And I was kind of like, I don't know about that, but I do have a lot of followers on TikTok, but I know because they want to monetize my stuff over there. And it's like, I right now, I'm just going to say that, like, let's say TikTok would be my backup. Like I ran their tests that they wanted me to do and certified and things like that. But I want to just stick with YouTube right now because YouTube has been supporting Aaron Carter in his story and the creators and things like that this whole time. And so I want to stay with that and not just jump over to TikTok. But okay, back to Trump. Let me just finish with Trump. So like with E. Jean Carroll, that case was a based on hearsay. There was no proof. I mean, it was an accusation, and basically they fined Trump, you know, $85 million, which was like $82 million more or $81 million more than they were even asking for. And like one of the theories is that because like E. Jean is old, and it's like realistically somebody at her age, and I don't even know how old she is, but I mean, I remember reading her she had a column in Elle magazine, and it was about dating, okay? And so, in the whole time that she wrote that column, she never one time gave any suggestion that she was ever raped or anything like that. So here's a lady who claims she was sexually assaulted, giving dating advice when, if that was true, I mean, she still, if that really did happen, she still put herself in that situation. Okay, regardless. She was there for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that like she attracted it to her, but she maybe subconsciously she did. I don't know. But anyway, so my theory is that basically they awarded her that much money because they know that it's going to take away from Trump's coffers. And when that lady dies, I mean, because she's up there, so the chances of her living a very long life, I mean, I'm just realistically speaking, if you look at statistics, they're going to get her money back in no time with the 60% inheritance tax. So the former CIA agent, and then they did the same thing with the 400 and like whatever. So basically, they fined him more money than they knew that he had in cash to take his cash away to cripple him in the fight for his presidency. And then now they want to start seizing his assets and things like that. And it's like, they're doing that because that's a city where they brought the migrants in. And so he's up against a wall no matter what. This is like the ultimate fight between the Republicans and the Democrats. Okay, so now they're saying that Trump's going to get in, and I think that he will because, the collective wants him in because we're tired of paying these high prices for less stuff. Now we're paying more money for less, even food or whatever it is, okay? And so this former CIA agent was saying that, like, you're basically not going to be able to really live very well in the United States by the year 2030 because, okay, so 2024, Trump gets in, that brings us to 2028. And then he could run another 2 years, okay, and he's going to be able to fix a lot of problems, but it's basically the people taking their rights back as an American citizen. So, I mean, he's going to have to really, like, he's got a lot of work that he needs to do to straighten out the country for everybody, okay? Plus fight his own battles. He's like a superpower because he's continuing because he knows that what's happening to him isn't right. And so once he gets into office, and he's still willing to be president, okay, and he's still willing to be president, he's still willing to fix the country's problems, okay, and battle all of his own drama that he's got going on, which is huge, okay. And so okay, so now what I want to say is, I think the easiest way for me to get my information out is just to say it and speak it into the universe and put it out on YouTube because I just don't have the time to email everybody or anything like that. But international publications, companies who sponsor journalism or want to do interviews with me to talk about War of Angels, a documentary on the death of Carter, or collaborate with me, okay, and this offer is good for outside of the United States, okay, then I say let's collaborate together and start sharing information so you can put it out there. But if you don't know it exists, you can't put it out there. You know what I mean? So yes, I've been working with people internationally to put Erin's story out there, but I need more support and more publications, and I'm going to do it all free of charge. Okay, I won't charge for any interviews. I won't charge for any of the documentation that has to be sent back and forth. I'm going to give it to you. I just want you to have it because I want you to repost it and re-put it out there because you're going to reach a much wider audience than I can. And I know, like, a lot of the films and things like that, the funding for the films internationally come from, like Dubai, Germany, what else is there? Nigeria, I'm just saying, like, I'm willing to work with you for free. The only thing I'm asking in return is that you spread the word about Erin's story and put it out there so people in other countries can get a feel of what it's like going on here in America and things like that. So with so I'm just saying, because there's a lot of interference going on. And so now I am participating in CIA training to better protect the hacks and things like that. And also, continue to work with authorities to report it because if I don't report it, then it's just going to keep going on. And that was like, the thing is like with Aaron's case is he was relying on local law enforcement, where it was like, you know, I mean, Karen, oh God. Yeah, Karen Bass. But the thing is like, okay, so Aaron's house basically became a trap house. Okay. And it was kind of like, unless he got security, like if I was Aaron, I would have got rid of Melvin with a no contact order. I would have put a fence up around my house, okay, and I would have got a legitimate, okay, former, ATF agent or FBI agent or somebody in the who knows how the military works, because the police is part of the military, okay, to be a guard and have security. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but I think that he went the route of like just, thinking that he was going to get more support from the fans. But the reality is that the fans are just watching him on a video, and they're just, the best that they can do is contact law enforcement. But Aaron was contacting law enforcement. Okay. And it was just they seem to be very lacking when it came to his protection. Even now, you see that I told you all along that autopsy report was fraudulent, and it is, because we have proof that the Ray Lugo, okay, who said he was a 27-year homicide detective that just walked Betty out of the house, okay, in a different change of clothes, okay, because she had Aaron's DNA on her, especially on her pants, okay, said that he lied about what he put in the autopsy report. So if he did that because he knew he could get away with it. Why is it that Jovan Williams is being held in the county jail and they have no disposition code? Why is that? So what I'm saying is like, it's the BS just goes up the chain. You know what I'm saying? Why aren't people being prosecuted by the DA in Lancaster, Southern California? I think it's because of the drug cartels. I mean, send all the migrants to California. That's where the homeless problem is. I mean, you might as well. Have you looked into what's going on in California lately? The prison wardens are quitting because they're just mixing everybody and putting all of the criminals with all of the different security together in the jails because they're hoping that they will kill each other. That's what they're doing. They're mixing all the levels of the different types of criminals together so they'll kill each other, so that will take care of the population, because these people aren't getting out of jail anyway. So that's how they decided that they were going to handle, because the prison guards are quitting because they're a target. Who's going to go to work knowing that your chances of dying are like 90%? Nobody, you know what I mean? And so like, if you do your research on YouTube, you'll see that, like there's people that are speaking out about what's going on in California and why people are leaving, but there's enough people who want to stay to make it better. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, in the short term, he could, Trump could maybe like push everybody over to California, and kind of filter them out that way. But, I mean, okay. So then we got Kanye West. Oh, one more thing about the interferences that they're doing on my stuff. They're doing the interferences because they know that I have evidence that I've been giving to legal authorities and people in law enforcement, and they know that I'm also sending it overseas. So basically, the people who are hacking are trying to find out what else kind of evidence that I have, because they know I'm getting it overseas somehow, and that's why they're doing all that they can to filter my information from being passed across overseas. And so I mean, and so that's why I kind of like just rose above all of that and just, contact and like putting it out there, like, let's just get this going as soon as possible. Okay. So, in the past couple of weeks, the information about Adam 22 and the involvement with Aaron Carter's death and the coincidence file with No Jumper, and then the coincidence that Chuck the Star and the Joker were at No Jumper when BJ died. And BJ was on house arrest, so those drugs got to BJ, and they had to get to her somehow. And so how did they get to her was from somebody who, was a drug dealer and delivered them to her. Okay. But there's a source, you know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I mean, if I was going to buy a dress, let's say I go to Nordstrom to buy a dress, that dress started a year ago, okay, when someone designed it, and then they picked out the material, and then someone approved it, and then it was sewn, and then it was fitted, and then it was mass produced, and on and on and on and on before it even landed in the store for me to even pick it off the rack. So it's a long line of distribution that happens, okay? And so when you're talking about the amount of people that are involved in Aaron Carter's death, and involving different states, and I mean, it's just a lot there. It's not Amazon Prime. I keep telling you. I remember when I was doing my, if you read my book, Shattered Windows, which was the first book I ever published, I say in there that the first attorney that I meet with in regards to what my legal situation was said to me and my little sister, he said, remember, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And so, fast forward to 2024, you have Ye, and Kanye wants to be known as Ye, okay? So you have Ye speaking out about Harley, Pasternak, and they killed Aaron Carter. He doesn't say that Harley Pasternak killed Aaron Carter. He talks about his involvement. This was my interpretation of the Kanye rant, okay? He talks about his involvement with this trainer, which is Harley. And then he says they killed Aaron Carter. So, like, if you're used to listening to Kanye and the way that he speaks, it's about him, and he's kind of like a stream of consciousness. He just kind of he speaks what's on his mind. I didn't take it that he put the two together. I took it that he was talking about his experience, because Harley was also not only training him, but training his wife, Kim Kardashian. And, I think we can all agree that, yes, while Kanye has always been, different, with his thought processes, and but he's a rapper, he's an artist, so you kind of got to expect that it's not going to be like a type A personality where everything is just black and white. There would be no art. Okay. That's why black and white, they're not colors, they're the absence of color. Okay. So he talks about his experience about what goes on in Hollywood and the mind control theory that he was associated with, and then he cuts to they killed Aaron Carter again. Um, we remember when, Kanye was married to Kim, and it was like, was there something in Kanye's coffee? I don't know. I think that for the amount of people that were involved in Aaron Carter's death, I think that what happened on November 3rd, November 4th was like what finally, worked. I think that they definitely made several attempts. Perhaps that's why Aaron had to go to Walmart to buy a new keyboard, because he spilled the coffee on the keyboard. You know what I'm saying? And so and then they said that, oh well, Mac Miller died right after having coffee with Harley. And so I think that, the idea of the singers or the stars, passing away in their bathroom is a theme that goes back to Elvis Presley days. Okay. And if you think about like the first cell phone, remember the first cell phone, Saved by the Bell with Zach Morris? Remember how it was like a brick phone? I mean, it was bigger than this. You know what I'm saying? And it was like $1,000 at Radio Shack, and it was this like almost military style technology phone that later evolved into like the bag phones, and like, so everybody in their car had a phone. And then then they got really small and they were like flip phones, and then texting came out, and then they became computers. And so the thing is like with the evolution of technology, if you're looking at it from like giving yourself an example about how things progress over time, because different people work on projects and fine tune them and on and on and on. And so why wouldn't it evolve the way that they decide to trap people in their homes and then kill them? And so, with the alleged testimony that they shot him in between the toes, but so that was a new approach, right? And then left him in the tub. They actually put him back in the tub, okay, just so you know that Aaron died on the floor. He didn't drown. Okay, but the whole autopsy report is fake and lies and fraudulent. And so, like, it's like when you find a snag in a sweater, you have to throw the sweater out because this is ruined. It's not you can't fix it. I mean, I guess you could patch and cover it up, but I mean, then we're going back to the whole, cover up thing. And it's like, Kanye, maybe, I mean, the thing is that like, okay, so the Kardashian show went from E to Hulu, that's owned by Disney. Okay. And so she had a change there. And then, obviously there we go again, back to Disney. And then all of a sudden it was like, Kanye, maybe they did do a little dabble on Kanye. And that's why he kind of, was off the rails there, And I mean, they certainly got him fired from Adidas, or whatever happened there. But it was kind of like an assault on him, okay? And maybe that's why him and Bianca Consorti, I believe is how you say her last name, spend a lot of time out of the country, because it's like if you say anything about the people who are doing things, who are involved in corruption, they want to hurt you. I want to make it very clear, and I can't say it enough, and it can't be understated, that the work that I'm doing, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And I didn't really think that it was gonna, like, when okay, so after I heard that Aaron died, I remember I was cleaning my kitchen and with Cupid, and I had the radio on, and I was listening to the radio, and it was iHeartRadio, which is Disney. Okay, it came across as breaking news or whatever that singer Aaron Carter, at the age of 34, has been dead, found dead in his home. And when I heard that, I felt like a shock. I felt shock. And so I went and I grabbed Cupid, and I went and I sat down, because I felt like I got like kicked in the stomach. That's, like, I always say that because this is how I felt. And so then I remember like reading it on TMZ, again, the Disney family, and because that's what it is, it's the Disney family, okay? And um I just was like, oh my God, And like I had a feeling that something was wrong. And like when I say that, like, I had a feeling that something was wrong, I want to explain to you what that meant emotionally for me. Okay. So I am, a past middle-aged woman. I I heard of Aaron Carter, but I didn't follow Aaron Carter. Okay. Also, too, I felt like I was too mature for the Backstreet Boys. Although I did go to one of their concerts when I was 18 years old, and I was a chaperone. And that's how I got to go, because you couldn't even get tickets. But I mean, I was also 18, so it was kind of like getting out of that boy band thing. Anyway, um, but I remember it was about 18 months prior. The last thing that I remember about Aaron Carter was that he was like on the internet, and he was like, I'm trapped in my room. My ex won't leave my house, and I feel like a prisoner in my own home. And, he basically was like trapped then. You know what I'm saying? Like it was, but, um, so the thing is like, it wasn't like, and I'm sorry to say it this way, but it wasn't the feeling that like somebody I loved passed away, or like when Selena died, that that was me like grieving, because I really loved Selena. You know what I mean? I listen to Spanish music, and so because we feel vibrations. It's not about the languages we speak, it's about how we feel with every energetic experience in our environment. And so you know I get asked a lot, why Aaron Carter? Why are you doing Aaron Carter's case? Why Aaron Carter? Why Aaron Carter? And I always say, but why not Aaron Carter? You know what I'm saying? Just because I didn't follow him, or I mean, I briefly remember, I think, the Shaq song, How I Beat Shaq, and maybe the one about the house party, but that was so long ago. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't a feeling that like I was mourning the loss of somebody that like I loved, because I didn't know him like that. It was just somebody who you hear about in pop culture. But then I posted the video on TikTok and I got 55,000 views. And then the second one got 65,000 views. That account's banned. They took it away from me. And so I don't, like, I feel like TikTok is kind of like they want you to go on there so people will like donate or whatever, to the gifts or whatever. But I don't know. I just that kind of seems like a circus act type of thing, like some kind of sideshow. So like I agree that I should post on there a little bit more just because I have followers on there, but I'm not going back to Facebook. I have like 400 some friend suggestions. I'm not posting on Facebook. I can't. The Sony ruined that for me, because right now I kind of got them where I want them, kind of lockjaw right there. But again, like I said, but I feel that I am supported by an audience. I'm supported by Aaron's fans and people in law enforcement. But at the same time, I have to put it out to the audience and let them know, like it's not. It's like I just feel like I'm sticking a stick in a hornet's nest. And I value my life. And so I feel like the only way to get it done is to um it is to not beat them but join them type of thing. So okay, I won't talk about the cartels. Okay, so I'll just leave them out of it because we already know that's where fentanyl comes from. Okay, because Walgreens not making that stuff. Okay, if you watch the one movie, it was what was the Netflix movie or the Netflix with Teresa. Man, why can't I remember that? It's like a series, and it's about a female. Was it like distribution or something? I don't know. That's how much I get into the cartel stuff. I'm like, I don't. They don't shoot you, okay, with just a little pistol. Okay, you see the cartels. Okay, they got AK-47s. You're not gonna you if you came that close to the cartel and you see the AK-47, you just gotta start praying. Just gotta start praying that there's no bullets in the gun or whatever, because that's it. That's not a threat. That's gonna happen. Okay, you're gonna get executed. Period. So anyway, if you want to research that part, you go ahead. But that's very specifically just about Aaron's case and Aaron's file. And I don't know, I'm not, I just feel like it just kind of, Aaron, me being involved with Aaron's case was kind of just like a serendipity or like just all I can say is serendipity. Okay, okay. So it's very similar to what happened to me. And if you're interested about learning about my past, Shattered Windows was my memoir. Hush Money was the sequel, and um, there's a trilogy there, but that's like in the future. And so, because like right now, I'm still doing the first book with Aaron. Anyway, just putting it out there. And so anyway, I I want justice for Aaron, but I have to be reasonable too. And so like I will give you what I can give you, and if at a later date I can't, I got to save some because like it's still like the cake isn't done baking. Like for me, I'm not in a hurry to get it all done because look at the progress that we have made since November 5th when when I heard that Aaron Carter died and I went to go sit down, I just felt like I got kicked in the stomach, and it was almost like it was like I just felt uh, that 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 was wrong because he had a trail of recorded attempts to stop all of that when he claimed that basically Melanie was trespassing on his property, and the cops he did get a restraining order against her, but she just blew right through that. And people ask about Aaron's estate. Listen, here's what I could tell you about Aaron's estate. And I think this is the connection between Aaron's case and my case. But I will tell you this, okay? I'm doing my case and I'm doing Aaron's case, and that's it. I'm not doing another case. I don't, for $1 million, I wouldn't do another case, okay? It's not worth it, okay? There's no price for basically running around trying to survive, but telling people the facts about Aaron Carter, okay? I mean, I can only take so much abuse myself, okay? And that's why I'm like, there's got to be a third party that comes in with a healthy solution. And that's why I said, I'm going to give every single publication in any country but the United States a copy, of Aaron Carter's documentary on his death that I wrote with the receipts for free. You guys want to charge for it? Charge for it. Just put it out there. Because I feel that strongly about every single word that comes out of my mouth in regards to that kid and the way that he died. That's it. So for me, my mindset goes to I'm not in a hurry. The longer that this goes on, the more information I get. So for me, I don't care how long it goes on. I already know what happened. Okay? You're not going to bring Aaron Carter back. Even if Aaron Carter, let's go with their phony baloney story, okay, that he drowned in a tub but he didn't have water in his lungs, okay? But all of his feces and urination after a body dies that comes out was still on the floor, okay? And on Betty's shoes. And that's why it was in the closet, and on her pants. And so it's really like lipstick on a pig, okay? And they're hoping that people don't care about Aaron Carter enough where they have to actually own up to it. That's why they were like, "Oh, we'll just put that fentanyl was not detected on the test because we didn't test for that." That way you can go ahead and sue Walgreens, okay, and extort the money with the kid's social security number that way and just leave the police out of it. Otherwise, Jane's got a claim for wrongful death because they don't want Jane to have that money. I think that, pray for Jane because she got a huge target on her back. I mean, this is the final push, right? This is the final push. There's only the two siblings that are left will either stick together, cradle to the grave, or they won't. But I can tell you something about justice. And this is basically my third book, okay, in my trilogy. And that's it. I will not write anymore. Let's just say, worst case scenario, Melanie gets away with Aaron's property, her personal property. Okay. Prance becomes the heir of Aaron's masters, because Aaron would have taken care of that kid. See, that's the thing. That's the one argument that I think if Melanie would have stood on, she might have had a chance. But it's like, you don't have one mouse in a house, okay? You don't. They come in, they come as a pack. They come as a family, okay? It's a whole ecosystem, all right? That's why I'm like, I can officially call the homicide detective a liar, because he can't prove he's telling the truth. So then they go after Walgreens, but when they did that, here's where they got screwed up with that. Okay, so when Aaron died, Prance became an award of the state, okay? And for the people who don't understand why I say Prance, is because I remember watching that movie Showgirls, and when Jessie from Saved by the Bell was in there, and like she finally worked her way up to a Versace, okay? It could have been a Versace, okay, but or it could have been Versace. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she was just happy to have a piece of clothing. She had like nothing. Anyway, but a thong. That girl was so happy to have that dress. She was on cloud nine. And she called it a Versace because it wasn't a Versace, okay? It wasn't that she didn't say Versace, like she didn't know what it was. She was telling the truth. It was a Versace. You know what I mean? Do you really think that the company that produced that film used Versace? Or, I mean, again, everybody's different, could be interpreted differently. So in any event, anybody can put a claim in that they're Aaron Carter's child. Okay, just so you know, because I've been through probate court, and it happened in my family, that other kids claimed that my dad was the father of them, and it's just something that happens. Okay, but the state of California is responsible for processing those claims. So allegedly Aaron had another son, and he had allegedly two daughters, and then it was Prance, but Aaron said that Prance wasn't his son, although he was taking care of the baby, and he said he would take care of the baby, because Aaron's personality to me is more of like, well, if God gave me this, then it was meant for me. He kind of like didn't know how to filter. That was one of his downfalls, that he couldn't filter things out, because he was just, I don't know. Maybe because he was an earth angel, and he felt like his spiritual protection was enough. I'm not sure. I'm not getting into that today. But I want you to understand, as a follower, where my head is at with all of this. Because like, I've gone through periods where I'm like, oh, I just wish like Aaron, like I get so, like, it comes in waves, and like all of a sudden I'll be like, a whole batch of evidence comes through. You know what I'm saying? And then like I have to sit there and filter that, and like, okay, that one goes to this detective, this one goes to this investigator, this one goes to this FBI agent. It's a whole system I have to filter through, because I have to pass the evidence on. I mean, it's my right as an American to do that. I'm supposed to report crime. So when leads and tips and evidence from trusted sources come in, I have to be the one to give it to people and to parlay it to people. But because we know there's this big corruption going on over here, I pull in my creative writer side and document everything, knowing that if the chain of command that it was reported to, the way that we're supposed to report it to, hasn't been followed up, well, at least the people who are the followers, who are the readers, No, okay, I did this, I did this, I'm documenting it for you. You know what I'm saying? That's what a documentary is. I'm documenting how I'm working with the different types of law enforcement and different types of authorities to make sure that maybe you don't have this information. And here it is. And there's people that work on Aaron's case who are just basically building a big portfolio. And so that's why I agreed to work with YouTube, because I am not typing right now. And I have the ability to produce video content. And so that's why, I'm on YouTube, and I'm grateful because it's easy for me now. I don't have to type it, and I can go work on other things. And anyway, so what I decided to do was make some of the archives members only, and but most everything will just be public. So if you want to join a membership on my channel, that's fine. That money goes to YouTube. I don't even take that money. It goes to YouTube. I haven't earned a dime from YouTube. I don't need to. I don't care. If I would rather just go to YouTube, because I have like 700 and something videos, and they're hosting all of that and not charging. So thank you to the people who continue to purchase the memberships and support YouTube, and also under my channel and me. I really appreciate it. Okay. And so I want to end with, I hope everybody has a good Easter, and thank you for taking your time to listen to what I have to say. And again, what we're looking for now are more international news and publication outlets, and anybody we can spread the word to. And thank you everybody who comments and likes and subscribes and shares and keeps it positive. And we'll just have to see where this thing goes. We've gotten pretty far. You know what I mean? It hasn't even been 2 years, and the person that did confess to killing Aaron Carter is incarcerated. Okay. And so by the time July comes by, which is Jovan Williams' court date, I'm thinking that, and I hope I'm wrong, but I probably feel like they're going to do that thing where they put him, because he's in the mental health jail, put him with the other like gang members that are in jail to kill them, the snitches, because he already snitched. So I feel like he probably won't even make it to his court date, and then they don't have to ever post a disposition code. That's how slippery the snake is. Okay. Again, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, but I mean, the thing is I point out the facts, and that's why they don't like me. But I'm doing everything legally, and I'm not doing it with malicious intent. I'm doing it because Aaron fell through the cracks, and he relates to that book, A Child Called It, and he talks about child abuse. And if they are going to punish parents for providing guns to their children, and some of the parents can argue that, because there's the lack of police protection and it's our Second Amendment right, but the courts are holding the parents responsible because they were irresponsible allowing their child to have full access to guns. There was no like going to the fire range or shooting range or whatever. It wasn't handled properly. And in the same token, what I'm saying is neither was Aaron's case. Okay. And so, I mean, isn't it so obvious to just about everybody else? And so, okay, I'm going to close with this. Let's just say whoever the bad guys are, let's say the dark side, okay? Let's say they profit, I'm just going to throw it out there. Let's say like, $400 million from Aaron Carter's estate. This is a number I just threw out there, okay? If the wrong people are awarded something, somebody who's not entitled to that benefit receives that as a benefit through means of like bad vibes or breaking spiritual code, spiritual law, okay? They literally will be cursed with it. So they can get it. But like in the Alanis Morissette song, with the old guy winning the lottery and then he dies the next day. Okay. So the story's going to play out how the story plays out. All right. The story is going to evolve, and I'm telling Aaron's perspective, and then Aaron's perspective that was parlayed through me through the fans, and I may not get anywhere in the justice system with it. I didn't get anywhere in the justice system with my case. I mean, it doesn't mean that what happened to me was right. It was very wrong what happened to me. But I didn't win in the court system. And so I don't expect to win as far as Aaron's case, in the court system. And the reason why is because it's corrupt. I couldn't win in the court system with my case, even though it was fraud and it was corrupt, because there are such things as corrupt files. It just is. But I do enjoy working on it with the fans and the people that are behind the scenes that work on it, and the people who send the evidence and the support and things like that. But make no mistake, okay? When they talk about the Illuminati, okay, the Illuminati is a spiritual realm of the best of the best of the best of the best. And a lot of times being the best of the best of the best of the best includes financial fortune. But the reality is the universe put us here, and the universe takes us out of here, okay? Because we're born, we live, and we die. And the universe sees everything, absolutely everything. And when they talk about the Illuminati, they're talking about the third eye. That's why it's the eye. And on the American dollar, it says, "In God we trust." God is universe, source, energy. Okay? In my opinion. So I guarantee you, sure as I'm sitting here, all right, it's like every move they make, every wrong turn they take, it's going to be nothing but tragedy. Absolutely tragic. They don't get to enjoy it. I guarantee you what they've thought it was going to bring to them, they have a very rude awakening. That's why I don't worry about, like, if Melanie got to keep the Riviera or got, impounded or whatever happened with that. because when that car moved, she became very sorry, and it was sitting in a garage. She didn't get to enjoy it. So, anyway, I'm not here to solve the world's problems, just mine and Aaron's. And Trump, pray for Trump. I really like Trump. I think he's a great businessman. I hope he can fix the economy. You know what I mean, and get rid of like the huge problem that was created because he wasn't in the past 4 years. Like our whole country got COVID and everything else, and it's just I don't know. I want to live my life in peace. So, I mean, the thing is I apologize to the people that I'm exposing, but at the same time, when you commit a crime, don't you ever think about getting caught? You know what I'm saying? It's if I want to do research on a case and your name comes up, and I mean, you put yourself there, okay? You may not like that I'm being a whistleblower, but it's my job. It's my duty, okay? And maybe you'll become an example to people, maybe you won't. I'm not saying that you have to be prosecuted in a court of law, but the thing is that I don't think that the Walgreens lawsuit will go through because the state of California knows that they have to do DNA on that kid. And when they find out that Aaron Carter is not a match to Prince, okay, so instead of Prince, it's Prince, okay, like Versace, Versace, it's the knockoff version, okay? So it's one off. And like literally Prince is one off. I'm just letting you know that I was given documentation, okay, on his DNA. And the evidence that I had, I posted online and they had it taken down. Okay. It's still in the videos. Okay. And Aaron Carter is not a DNA match to Prince. He's not. That was the evidence that I was given. Another source confirmed it. You'd have to prove me wrong. Otherwise, I'm going to go off of the evidence that was presented to me. Okay. And what I was told by a official officer who could tell me the information, the DNA match was Taylor Helgeson, also known as Lake Street Louis, was the match for Prince, not Aaron. Now, whatever agreement that they had, where Aaron was like, it's not my son, but I'll take care of him, then so be it. Then I'm out of that one. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, if we're going the traditional legal route and the steps in the legal system, if Walgreens finds out, because Walgreens can subpoena that, you know what I'm saying? Just because there's been evidence saying that it's not his DNA from reliable sources. I don't know. Is Wikipedia a reliable source? I mean, it's a source. I don't really hear people say that Wikipedia, posts things that aren't factual. It's like back when, I told you I used to read encyclopedias. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if everything that was in that encyclopedia was fact, but I know that it was knowledge that was given to me under the impression that what was in that book was fact. And because I like to read so much and I could read so fast, that I would read them because I was absorbing facts. I didn't get to watch the TV, or there wasn't program, like there was cartoons on, okay, like yeah, it was funny, but like I'm a very serious person, and so I found enjoyment out of reading. And so if I switch over from the encyclopedias to Wikipedia, I'm still with that same mindset that what's published on there, I'm relying to be factual, and that's why I'm using it to back up my story of or my theory about Aaron Carter's death. I mean, I do have the right to go ahead and talk about it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that like the law enforcement in that area has to do their job. I'm just saying that they suck at their job. Okay, maybe a little training there, I mean, I think that, like, if you're looking for, the justice system to rightfully award Jane monetary funds, that's that I feel like if she's truly the next of kin, let her decide if Prance gets anything. How do you know she won't? She posted on her Facebook page. Jane posted on her Facebook page, okay, and hear me out on this one. She made an estate and a will, and she said, if something happens to me, I want 50% to go to Bella and 50% to go to Prance. Okay. She didn't say that, based on a DNA test. She knew her son better than anybody, okay? And she knew that Aaron would take care of that kid and that baby. And I think if any of the Carters are legit, okay, that they would agree for it to pass through Jane. They're always trying to cut Jane out. They've cut Jane out from day one. Okay. My opinion is because I think what happened is that Aaron Carter came out as a 6-year-old superstar who could sing. And when he went out there and he performed at the little baby stage that he was at, boy, did he put on a show. I'm watching these Aaron Carter videos about, like he's got the gold suit on with the black gloves and everything, so cute. And he played a role, and every role that he played was excellent. But he spoke up about being sexually assaulted on the Jay Leno show by his manager, who's still working. And so what happened is from what I got, and like I could be wrong, but this is my understanding of the facts, okay? That Lori Knight managed Nick and Aaron at the same time. And when Aaron said that he fired her for improperly touching him, fondling, molesting, whatever, okay, that she was a pedophile, she had, right from that minute on, would not work for him and not promote his career, only promoted the brother. And the brother, allegedly from women that claim they had encounters with him, is a was that predator? Predator. And profiles likes them like 15-year-olds, okay, which is illegal. But they're kind of like two peas in a pod. You know what I mean? Like, are criminals going to tell on each other? I mean, what they're doing is working. You know what I mean? Like, Nick lives in a mansion in Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Aaron's dead. So, I don't know. I just think that, like, I think if you want justice for Aaron, the best way that you could do and you could help out, because I think the fans want to do something about it and not just sit there and wait for, the next crack in the case. My suggestion is to copy the information that they wanted deleted from the internet that I posted on my community tab, and share it out and post it out and put it everywhere. Because we're not trying to convince the people who are working in a broken system to to fix it because they won't. They don't want to. That's how they make their living. It's a broken, corrupt, crap hole. It's not a rabbit hole, it's a crap hole. Okay. And separating from that and moving forward with a message, and whoever's meant to hear that message is going to hear that message. I don't need it to be displayed on TMZ. I don't need that. Okay. TMZ, in my opinion, it's trash. Okay. But hey, trash even has one man's trash is another man's treasure. My opinion. So anyway, that's what I would like. If you can screen record and keep them, or make a collection or whatever you got to do, but keep spreading the word, be tasteful about it, and you'll see that basically the numbers of the collective that want this information to be out there is massive. It's not the other way around. The narrative that they paint in those publications that they're affiliated with, that's part of their entertainment business, is like looking through a kaleidoscope. Okay, that's one very narrow viewpoint. Okay, and that's not the collective. I'm telling you because I'm the intermedium between Aaron's fans, and I can back it up with the information is overwhelming, and then back it up with giving it to the correct law enforcement agencies, creating a paper trail, creating receipts, and there's enough, and. All right. Remember, some bunny loves you. Okay? I'll see you when I see you. Namaste. God bless you all.